MEREY's journey didn't start with fame. It started with words. At just 17 years old, she wrote her first song in English, but long before that, she was already living in poetry. Writing became her earliest form of self-expression, long before she ever stepped into a studio or a stage. During her school years, she didn't just study music casually, she lived it. She performed in a national orchestra, sang, and even played the traditional dombra, an instrument deeply tied to Kazakh cultural identity. That early exposure shaped not just her technical skills, but her emotional understanding of music. For MEREY, music and text are inseparable. She doesn't see lyrics as decoration, she sees them as the foundation of everything. Her influences reflect that mindset. She grew up reading powerful Kazakh poets, absorbing emotional depth, language precision, and cultural storytelling. At the same time, she was listening to global alternative and indie artists like Billie Eilish, Lana Del Rey, Mitski, and others, artists known for emotional vulnerability and atmospheric sound. That combination created something unique. A voice rooted in Kazakh literary tradition but shaped by modern global music culture. Her sound isn't trying to fit into one box. It's intentionally fluid, poetic, emotional, slightly detached, and deeply expressive. Culture, tradition, and modern identity. What makes MEREY stand out isn't just her sound, it's her philosophy. She strongly believes in preserving the Kazakh language and cultural identity in music. But not in a static, old-fashioned way. For her, tradition is something alive, something evolving. She actively uses poetic language, idioms, and older speech structures in her lyrics, bringing back expressions that are slowly disappearing from everyday conversation. At the same time, she blends this with modern Western musical influence. The result is a hybrid identity, culturally rooted, but globally aware. She often emphasizes that her goal is to promote precise and expressive Kazakh language in music, even if everyday speech becomes more casual or simplified. And for her, this is not just artistic preference, it is cultural responsibility. Traditional sound meets modern experimentation. One of the most fascinating parts of MEREY's artistic identity is her relationship with traditional Kazakh instruments. Her first instrument was the dombra, and even today, she describes herself as an improvisational dombra player. She still owns her first instrument, now more than a decade old, as a personal symbol of where her journey began. She draws inspiration from traditional sounds like the kobys, zhetajan, and shankobys, even if she doesn't always use them directly in her recordings. But here's where reality meets creativity. In modern digital production, high-quality virtual instruments for traditional Kazakh sounds are limited. That means if she wants authenticity, she often has to rely on live recordings, which can be difficult and expensive. This technical limitation has even changed her creative decisions. In one of her songs, she originally planned to use the kobys to create an anxious emotional atmosphere, but ended up replacing it with a violin due to production constraints. Still, she continues to explore ways to merge tradition with modern soundscapes, inspired by other contemporary Kazakh artists who are already experimenting in this space. But innovation rarely comes without resistance. MEREY has faced her fair share of public criticism, especially when experimenting with visual style, vocal performance, and lyrical themes. One of her songs that explored themes of female sexuality in the Kazakh language sparked strong reactions. Another live performance went viral on TikTok, not only bringing attention, but also backlash. And this is where the cultural tension becomes visible. In many audiences, there is still a fixed expectation of what a female Kazakh singer should look like. Long hair, traditional aesthetics, modest presentation, and restrained stage presence. When an artist breaks that expectation, it creates discomfort. But MEREY pushes back against that idea completely. She believes that music is not just about beautiful singing. It is about expression, storytelling, and performance. She draws inspiration from global artists who use stage presence, visuals, and symbolism as part of their identity. In her view, limiting artists to one acceptable image slows down the growth of an entire music scene. Despite criticism, her influence continues to grow. Fans are drawn not just to her voice, but to her honesty. Many listeners, both in Kazakhstan and internationally, have reached out to understand her lyrics more deeply, even requesting translations into other languages. Her music becomes a bridge, connecting Kazakh culture to a global audience in a way that feels fresh and emotionally authentic. At the same time, she has sparked important conversations about artistic freedom, cultural identity, and the future of modern Kazakh music. Some see her as controversial. Others see her as necessary. But almost everyone agrees on one thing: she is different. When asked about Kazakhstan's contemporary music scene, MEREY doesn't hold back. She expresses disappointment in what she sees as a lack of innovation, fresh voices, and bold artistic risk-taking. To her, much of the scene feels repetitive and overly safe. But this criticism is not just negativity, it is a reflection of her desire for growth. She believes the future of music in Kazakhstan depends on artists who are willing to experiment, and audiences who are willing to accept change. Without that exchange, evolution cannot happen.